They will be up on Facebook, so do that. Welcome back. We're glad you're here. Hopefully all the parents are here to take your kids because we're not keeping them out. This is the end of this particular journey for the camp. Hopefully not the end for the campers as you progress through your life as a high schooler, college student, hopefully whatever profession you decide to go into. Today we have a program that will last until around 2. Your campers will tell you a little bit about what they learned during this week, so hopefully not only will you learn something, but you'll have fun as well. Hopefully you did pick up the program. If not, they're at the back of the room. But today what we're going to do is have some remarks by Melanie Wilson, who is the faculty advisor. Then we have our students broken up into 4 small groups to give presentations on the different areas of the law. And then we'll give the certificates once that is done. Okay? So I'm not going to sit here and talk about all the stories that we had.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Karen. I'm Melanie Wilson, as Karen said, and I am a law professor here at the University of Kansas. I'm also the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. But this week I was the faculty mentor and advisor for 16 really bright, inquisitive campers. And so, first of all, I'd like to thank each of you, parents and grandparents and siblings and friends, for entrusting these fine folks to us. I think this week has really been rewarding, at least for me. And I've watched the campers' intellectual growth and them building friends. It's been really a lovely week. And so before their presentations, I wanted to just make a few observations to them about what I observed. Campers, when you arrived Monday for class, which is the first time I met you all, you had trouble distinguishing plaintiffs from defendants. And you had trouble distinguishing a restatement from a statute. You didn't know about jurisdiction. You didn't know about standing. You certainly, probably some of you might have thought a tort was something you ate for breakfast. You've made some significant progress this week. And you were always, I think, attentive and enthusiastic over the course of the week. You listened carefully, you took notes diligently, and you certainly asked some tough and sometimes very probing questions. But throughout the week, you learned that the police can trespass on property and search people's trash. And of course, you learned that consideration is necessary part of a legal contract, and it's not just being polite to one another. You learned about copyright protections, that you don't have to put that little C at the bottom of the paper to protect an original work. You learned that sometimes young people digress and they choose the wrong path. And we saw some of that at the Kansas Juvenile Detention Center. We met with the governor's lawyer and learned that he does some very interesting work. We read about a case that he's working on now, the redistricting case. I read about it in the paper this morning. You probably read about it maybe yesterday. You debated the guilt and innocence of some fictional characters in Judge Arnold Burker's chambers. I remember there was a lot of give and take back and forth about whether a defective cruise control would absolve someone from criminal liability. We saw, of course, Hush Blackwell, and that some lawyers have absolutely beautiful views of Kansas City, and then other lawyers, for example, the ones at the Department of Housing and Urban Development, really pride themselves on public service. So now you know something about mens rea and intentional infliction of emotional distress, and you know something about mutual assent, and lots more. I hope you also realize that the law students that took part in this Journey to JD camp program, I hope you realize that they really are devoted supporters of yours. They gave up time in class studying for the bar. They gave up salaries from summer jobs. One flew from California to be here and paid his own way buying plane tickets and renting cars. They did all this because they really wanted to make your experience challenging and rewarding. And sometimes they stayed up late at night after they spent the day with you guys on the field trip to get ready for class the next day. So I hope you also learned that. And I'd like to take just a moment to thank all of them, especially Dana, Ebony, Jean, and Jose, who, of course, were the ones that I was responsible for. So I hope you'll join me in thanking them. successful without the brains of the operation. Karen Hester, as you probably have gathered, spent a lot of time on the phone getting sponsors, getting book bags, talking to folks, talking to the lawyers that then agreed to meet with us, some really nice folks, and then, of course, arranged for some really cool field trips, including, of course, the Livestrong soccer extravaganza, which was pretty darn amazing. So I hope you'll also join me in thanking Karen. Most of all, finally, I hope you learned something about yourselves. I certainly learned about you. I saw in this group the young future of Kansas, and it was really inspiring. And I hope that you too take friends and mentors, a little bit of law, and some inspiration of your own to go into college. If you choose to go to law school, to go to law school. But I hope you gained a little bit of confidence, because I saw in each of you amazing potential. You guys are special. Each and every one of you is special. And I hope you leave this camp with inspiration to really be whatever you want to be and do it as well as you can do it, because you guys are really great. And I thank you for letting me be a little part of your journey this week. Thanks.
All right, now the fun stuff. We're going to have our students give their presentation. Which group would like to go first? Okay, so Desiree's hand pop up.
Hi, I'm Caleb Main, and I'm with this group. We have the topic of contracts and copyright. I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Gracie Ortega.
I'm Desiree Zacko.
I'm Mason Williams.
And we have just a little presentation for you guys. First off, we're going to talk about just the key elements that go into contracts and information.
We'll start with the formation of a contract. That's the first main element. The formation of contracts consists of mutual assent and consideration. It takes the form of an offer and promise of acceptances and performances.
Terms, the details and criteria of a contract. They can relate to the performance or duties of a party.
Performance and breach. Performance is fulfilling the duties and promise in the contract. Breach is a failure to do so.
The last element is remedies, which are actions available to a wrong party in a breach of contract. It includes specific performance or monetary compensation.
So now we've prepared a small skit to show you the importance of contracts. Hope you enjoy it.
So hey Mom, guess what I did today?
What did you do today?
Well, me and my friends performed our first album.
My contract senses are tingling. Let's make a deal. How does this look to you, Mr. Caleb?
It all looks good, I guess. Legal.
Just sign right here, please.
Stop. In the name of God, before you sign your name. Mason Williams, attorney at law. All right, let's get to business. I am called a contract negotiator. Jailhouse Rock Productions. Caleb, I'd like to ask, did you even read the contract?
I skimmed through it.
Caleb must dance like a primate at all live performances.
I didn't read that, but I'm all down for it.
Very important to read your contract. All right here. Caleb must perform a special New York Blast Tour between the dates of August 27th, 2012 and May 30th, 2017, and will do so without permits.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, it happens to be illegal. And the problem with illegal things in contracts is it means there isn't a contract. which means you get paid, which more importantly means I don't get paid. Caleb will eat nothing but plain white rice for the rest of his life.
I like white rice.
This is an unconscionable term. They can't make you do this. That doesn't even benefit them. What about cheeseburgers, Caleb?
Is there bacon on cheeseburgers?
There's bacon on cheeseburgers.
Go ahead and fix that.
Caleb is signing over all his copyrights to JRR.
Like, rights, as in like, I only have one, like, right?
No, Caleb, your copyrights. As an artist, you're granted certain rights for your original works. You have your right to publish, your right to distribute, to make a derivative. You can play sound recordings, perform it. You can publish your works. And, well, as an artist, to make money, you're going to have to sell these rights. We can leave that in there. The rest of it doesn't look too bad. You certainly have some consideration here.
Consideration. I guess they would consider it.
No, Caleb. See, your consideration is what you're receiving for your part of the deal. It's the money you're getting paid.
Okay.
So, I guess we have mutual assent now. We can go ahead and get this signed. Both parties have now agreed on the contract. We can now go through.
Okay, so I can sign it, right?
Wait, hold on a minute. How old are you?
I just turned 16.
That's a problem. See, you can't sign this. You're not of age. It'll make the contract void. What about your mom? Can she sign this?
I think so. Are you okay with that?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad we come to an agreement. Now, on your guys' part, that'll be a 40% contingency fee. What I said.
Welcome everyone. If you're wearing a name tag, please stand up. Now, will you please exit the room?
All the people on the sides.
Hurry. Now that they're out of there, we can start our presentation. I'm so sorry for the commotion and inconvenience. But anyways, so today we're going to be giving you a presentation about civil rights and how everyone is born with the same rights. Separate but equal. Right. That means that we both learn the same things, but we don't learn them in the same facility. Just like people with name tags that go to one school.
Hey guys, this is supposed to be separate and equal, but this is not equal. We are not prepared to give this presentation. Can we come in with you guys?
No. See, they're going to learn the same things, just not in the same room as us.
Yeah, we even hired people to give them the same presentation.
And I think they're qualified.
Maybe. But anyways, does anybody have a point of view on civil rights?
And how people are equal. Well, that's okay. We're going to talk a little bit more about it.
So there's this case.
Wait, what's going on?
We are equal. We are equal.
how things work. So, how do you guys feel that you got kicked out and you really had no say in what you can and couldn't hear?
Angry. Frustrated.
Unequal.
Okay, so those are probably a few of the things that they felt a while ago. So a mere 50 years ago, segregation was prominent, and African American and white children could not go to school together. Taking a closer look at our amendments, African American people realized they deserve just as much equality as everyone else. So they challenged the authorities. The two amendments that back up their case include the 5th and the 14th. The 5th Amendment states, "No person shall be deprived from life, liberty, or property without the due process of law." The 14th Amendment states, "No state shall deprive from life, liberty, or property without the due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protections of the law."
There have been a few important cases in the past that have led us to the equality that we have today. We begin with the case of Plessy versus Ferguson. Before this, racial discrimination was the norm. Plessy versus Ferguson ruled that races would be separate but equal. Races were separated, for example, by having separate schools, yet were still supposedly equal. The segregation model that we tied into the beginning of our presentation is a model of separate but equal. The next case, Brown versus Board of Education, challenged being separate but equal. During the beginning of our presentation, we realized that although we were separate and supposedly equal, we were not equal since the people inside the room were given top priority. Brown versus Board argued that separation led to psychological issues that affected learning and ultimately led to inequality.
In some cases today, the government is justified in certain instances of discrimination. For example, there is age discrimination when the government sets a minimum driving age. However, this is an acceptable form of discrimination because it is ultimately in the best interest of public safety. In the first section of the 14th Amendment, there is the Equal Protection Clause that ensures no person is denied equal protection of the laws. With this Equal Protection Clause in mind, the government determines whether certain instances of discrimination are justified. The government does this by using one of 3 tests.
These three tests are the rational basis test, intermediate scrutiny, and strict scrutiny. The rational basis test focuses on the means to accomplish the end. A law will be upheld if it is rationally related to a legitimate government purpose. Legitimacy may not necessarily be important or compelling, but something the government may legitimately do. For example, public safety. This is the easiest test that the government has, can pass through to get a law going. Intermediate scrutiny. In this test, the court must prove that the law is substantially related to an important government interest. This would be like gender, and there's bad discrimination, there's good discrimination. Something good that would come from this would be separating men and women in prison. That would be good because it's for their safety. And bad would be like in the workforce. You can't have unequal rights. The next test is strict scrutiny. To pass this, the government must show that they have a compelling / necessary state interest that is narrowly tailored to serve that interest. They must prove there are no other alternatives. Something that would go through this test is race, and this is the hardest test for the government to get their choices passed through. Thank you.
Check.
I'm Danielle.
Oh, I'm Carly.
My name's Lenny.
I'm Danny.
We're doing tours.
Yeah, we just kind of did a little skit to just show how a tour would go, just how it might start up and how you take the tour and how, it'll all work out. Let's go. Back. So, big screen.
Normal day, June 8, 2012. Defendant's house.
Ooh, this is a really nice house. And that TV I see through the window, I would really like it. Oh, a big screen TV. Eddie has a Picasso in his house. Oh, and this laptop is really, really nice.
Oh no, my battery's dead. Gotta go check it out. Oh! I was gonna shoot you.
Freeze! This is assault. Assault is the intent to create reasonable apprehension of imminent battery.
Bang!
Freeze! This is battery. Battery is the intent to create harmful or offensive contact that in fact results.
Oh my God, she stole
Judge Vandervoort Courtroom, June 9, 2012. Case number 12493.
We will hear argument now in case number 12-493, McDonald versus Peru de Gonzalez. Will the plaintiff please present her client?
Your Honor, I have filed a lawsuit for assault and battery against this man. I had reason to believe that an imminent battery was going to occur. And not only that, he actually shot me. He caused me physical harm. His actions were intentional, and his contact was harmful and offensive. And because of this injury, I have $80,000 in medical expenses. I want him to be held responsible and pay my bills, and I want extra money. Punitive damages are the only way to make him pay for what he has done to me.
Will the defendant please present his defense to the court?
Yes, Your Honor. I did commit an assault and a battery, but my actions were defense of property.
Freeze! Defense of property is the right for the defendant to use reasonable force to prevent interference with personal property. However, deadly force is strictly prohibited.
She physically and intentionally came onto my property, a trespasser.
Freeze! This is trespass to land, intentional and unauthorized physical entry onto the land of another.
She was completely unauthorized, so I do not think I should be held responsible for her medical bills nor punitive damages.
Let me get this straight. Do you consider a gun deadly use of force?
Yes, I would.
Also, let me get this straight. You want me to make him pay your medical bills because you trespassed to land?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why should he be paying your bills when you're the one who trespassed?
He committed assault and battery against me.
And also, let me get this straight. You shot a gun at her over a Picasso, a TV, and a laptop.
The game's gonna be on. It's good, my laptop, man.
Judgment for the plaintiff, the defendant will pay the defendant's medical bills, no punitive damages awarded.
Freeze! Everybody clap your hands!
I'm Morgan Linder.
I'm Cody Totten.
I'm Kristen Stinnett.
I'm Grace Gregory, and we're presenting criminal law and criminal procedure. We're going to start out with a quick sketch of you guys.
Give me a moment. No, get away from me.
You leave me no choice.
Not shot.
You're kind of a bean. Case 12007. Grace is being charged with murder. Defendant, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
State, present your evidence.
There's an eyewitness to testify that the defendant shot the victim. The police found the defendant rifling through the victim's purse when they arrived, and she had gunpowder residue on her hands.
I have found probable cause. The court date will be set for June 9, 2012. Jury, have you reached a verdict?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
How do you find the defendant on the count of murder?
We find the defendant guilty.
I hereby sentence the defendant to 25 years in prison.
No!
Okay, these are theories of criminal punishment. The utilitarian approach includes general deterrence, which would be to make an example of the person who committed the crime. Individual deterrence would be to make sure that they have enough punishment that they'll never not to do it again. Incapacitation, which completely prevents them from doing it again, like life in prison. And reform, which makes them become a productive member of society. There's also the retribution approach, which is a punishment that reflects the crime, otherwise known as an eye
Elements of a crime are actus reus and mens res. Actus reus is conduct that causes harm, for voluntary acts and omissions. Mens rea is a state of mind that a criminal defendant must have with regards to the crime committed. They're either intentional, reckless, or negligent.
Another element of a crime is causation, and there's two parts. There's actual cause, which is like a but-for test, which is but for the act, the harm would have occurred. And then there's proximate cause, and that decides which but-for cause should be held accountable for the resulting harm, and then whether the harm is foreseeable from the act. And you have to have both to have a crime.
There's also harm, and there must be a resulting harm. The resulting harm is usually defined in the statute. And in criminal procedure, the foundation requires governmental action, and it's a balancing act between the need for law enforcement and the protection of privacy interests of individual citizens.
The Fourth Amendment is search and seizure, and we have a skip.
Grace, take the trash out.
This is very fishy.
Freeze! This is not a search because the act of putting the trash on the curb makes it public property.
Hello?
Hello, ma'am. May I come in and take a look around?
No.
Freeze. In this act, a warrant is needed because the access in the house was denied.
Open up, please.
Grace, don't flush the drugs.
Shut
the back door, honey.
Exigent circumstances. Freeze. This is not a search because exigent circumstances were present. The criminal was going to flush the evidence and flee the scene of the crime.
And then there's also the Fifth Amendment, which is like your Miranda rights. And we have a skip for that.
You're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. Do you understand these rights as I have read them? Yes. And the last one is the Sixth Amendment right to counsel, which was in the Miranda rights. And that's it.
Let's give a round of applause for our campers. I think what we're going to do now is give out the certificates. Melody talked about the students that were helping out with the camp, and I just want to recognize all that are here. We have Jose Adornez. He's a student from California. He is one of the teaching assistants. He flew for just Christy Van Markham. She is one of the resident assistants. She just graduated from KU. She's getting ready to take the bar here next month. She has done this for 3 years. She's been here for every year the camp has been in existence, so hopefully she'll come back again next year. Next up we have Ebony Davis, who is one of the TAs. She is starting her 3rd year this year, and she's a returner as well. Dana Q is also one of our recent grads, studying for the bar. She was also my program assistant in addition to the teaching assistant, so she really helped out a lot this year. Nate Lindsay's there in the back, another graduate. He was a resident assistant, so please thank him. Xavier Andrews as Tua.
Yep.
Rising Tua just finished his 1st year of law school, so he was a resident assistant this year. We have Joe Manager. Stand up first, please. He's a law student and teaching assistant this year. Alexandra McCoy. Assistant Winnie Howard. Clay Randall. He just graduated as well. And then my son, Jesse Hester Hill, as well. Great, okay, let us go ahead. I want to make sure we do recognize our sponsors. If you look on the back of your program, you'll see who our corporate sponsors are. Curry Van Potawatomi Nation, Walmart, SNR Denton, Hush Blackwell, we all mentioned the other day, Open Tree Dinkins, Stinson Morrison Hecker, Chicardi Bacon, Liquid Engage, Brian Cave, Asian American Bar Association of Kansas City, KC Legal, Cerner, Holston Seekin, Johnson County Bar Association, Kansas City Metropolitan Bar Association, Levy and Craig, KU Catering, and Coca-Cola. So please support these sponsors when you get a chance. Thank you. Next up, we have Carly Fraser. Now, Carly had to step out a little bit for cheerleading camp. I don't know why she stepped away, but you can tell she's a cheerleader from today's performance, right? What Melody's giving him is a pen and it says Journey to JD 2012. So whenever you are invited back and you come, please wear your pins so we can identify you. Grace Gregory, please come on down. I learned that Grace is a Love Lake gymnast, so that means hopefully we'll be seeing her in the Olympics here pretty soon. Miss Jenna Johnson. Now, Jenna remembered my words on Sunday where I said people have to sit in the front, so she made her folks come to the front. So, thank you, Miss Jenna, for that. Congratulations. Next up, we have Miss Hannah Liker. Miss Hannah was one of the quiet ones in the class, but she always had something inside to say in class, so we appreciate her for that. Thank you, Miss Hannah. Morgan Linder. Where's Miss Morgan? I heard Morgan displayed some skills this past week at the basketball court. Caleb Main. Come on, man. Now, someone said you were the class clown. Is that right? I do know that Caleb, congratulations, Grace, and Natalie were our professional posers. I don't know if you've seen the picture. Miss Danielle Moore. Danielle is my Twilighter. Is that what your official title is? She was telling me all about the movies in the book. So, congratulations. Thank you. Next up, we have Miss Gracie Ortega. Come on. Now, I heard Gracie was the quick one in the class. She picked her stuff really fast. So that's good. Thank you. Next up, we have Annie Sugar. I was told Annie was the forward thinker in the class and asked good questions. So, we got some intellectual people in this class. Congratulations. Kristen Stimmett. Now, I've been told that Kristen likes Miami Heat. I wonder who that was. Congratulations. Miss Cody? Miss Cody? There you are. Cody was one of our two hang 'em high judges when we had to go to Topeka. Be careful if she's on the bench, she'll still find you guilty. Daniel Vandervoort. Daniel is our most enthusiastic Chiefs fan. He doesn't like being on the stage, so. like a recommendation for me when I go to law school. So I have 6 years to work on it.